Tyler Ferrero, and welcome to the 4th edition of Fantasy Talk. And today, we have a special edition as we're talking about the upcoming fantasy basketball season. And to start things off, I'm going to be telling you, the viewers, how a standard ESPN Fantasy Basketball League works in the head-to-head scoring categories. And in that type of league, there are 8 statistical categories. There are points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, three-pointers made, field goal percentage, and free throw percentage. And whoever wins the most out of those 8 categories will win that matchup for that week. And once you've understood how the scoring works for fantasy basketball, I will give you tips on how to build your team. And first off, it's all about the players who dominate in multiple statistical categories. And the positions that dominate the most categories are point guard and power forward. Because generally, point guards will get points, assists, steals, three-pointers, and they will shoot a good free throw percentage. And power forwards will get points, rebounds, blocks, a good field goal percentage, and sometimes they'll get you a good free throw percentage. And the last tip is to build your team so they have specific strengths, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and so on. And now I'll be talking about the sleepers for each of the 5 positions in basketball. And my first sleeper is point guard Eric Bledsoe for the Phoenix Suns. And with his supreme athleticism and lockdown defensive capabilities, expect him to have a breakout season. And my second sleeper is shooting guard Evan Turner for the Philadelphia 76ers. And Turner does it all. He scores, rebounds, and gets assists at the 2-guard position, where that's rare. And he will get plenty of opportunities this year as he is playing on the abysmal Philadelphia 76ers team, who could end up getting the first pick in the draft this year. So expect him to break out. And for my third sleeper is small forward / power forward Thaddeus Young for the Philadelphia 76ers. And Young can be moved around at 2 positions, which really helps his versatility in fantasy basketball. He scores well, rebounds well, and gets a lot of steals for the power forward position and the small forward position. So draft him if you need help at either position. And for my sleeper at the power forward position is the Spanish all-around big man Pau Gasol for the Los Angeles Lakers. And many people are drafting him way too late because he had a poor season last year. But with Dwight Howard down in Houston now, expect that to open up the paint for him and expect him to get a lot more touches. And for my 5th and final sleeper at the center position is Jonas Valanciunas for the Toronto Raptors. And last year, Valanciunas played pretty well. We expect him to improve a lot more as he's developed his game this offseason, which should help him this year in fantasy. And now I will tell you about the 3 rookies to watch this year in fantasy basketball. And the first one is Victor Oladipo, shooting guard for the Orlando Magic. The second one is Ben McLemore, shooting guard for the Sacramento Kings. And the last one is Trey Burke, point guard for the Utah Jazz. And I expect all 3 of these players to play very well during their rookie season. And they will get the opportunity, as all 3 of them will play a very big role for their teams this year. And now I'd like to show you my rankings for the top 125 players this year in fantasy basketball. Now here's my rankings of the top 125 fantasy basketball players this year. At number 1, I have Kevin Durant, followed by LeBron James. And to round out, the top 3 is James Harden. So this list will help you as you're drafting players for your fantasy team. But remember to build your team as you like, because it's your team, and you're playing fantasy basketball for the fun of it. So that's the end of the 4th edition of Fantasy Talk. And I hope you tune in next week as I talk about fantasy football once again. I'm Tyler Ferrero, and I guess we'll see you then.